Brother and lads, welcome back to Cossy Podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. Mikel Arteta has been speaking about Saka, Saliba contracts, and Thomas Partey's injury update. We're going to be diving into that. It looks like Thomas Partey could be back in contention against Leicester City, but the manager doesn't want to rush him. So we will see what the manager said about that. And of course, our Europa League draw has been drawn. If you have not watched the live stream, please make sure you watch that video. Of course, Arsenal have been drawn against Sporting Lisbon in the last 16 of the Europa League. We've already discussed that. I've had my thoughts on that, but definitely you can give me your thoughts if you've not seen the video yet. Give me your thoughts in the comment box below. Do you think Arsenal will beat Sporting CP to go to the quarterfinals of the Europa League? Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast. Let's get this one to 300 likes. Subscribe to me and on 90 more podcast as well, because there is a couple of videos I'm putting up there. So if you get time and you want to watch something different, predictions for the round of 16 are already on the channel. Watch me on the 90 more. I dare you to miss that because it was absolutely bold. Now let's get into it. Mikel Arteta and the team news. First and foremost, was asked about what is the latest in terms of the team news, injuries and everything, and he said not a lot of changes. The question mark is on Thomas Partey. He hasn't trained much, but it looks like he could be available. So let's see how he trains today and whether he will be back in contention tomorrow. So he says he has not trained much. Doesn't say he's not been training, but he says he hasn't really trained much, but let's see how he will train today. And he says he could be available. To be honest with Thomas Partey, I don't think Mikel Arteta has always taken this as a very huge, big injury. It's more of being cautious. It's more of being of taking precautions. He's always done that. He's always been the guy who says, I don't think Partey should play in this game because it will worsen the injury. And I think he won't play him against Leicester. To be honest, I think, right? I'm not saying he won't. I'm saying I think he won't play him against Leicester, and he will keep him for the Everton game, which is more physical, or even Bournemouth, or even the round of fixtures that are coming up in March. Almost 2 games every single week, but we'll see what Mikel Arteta decides to do, with that. Right, let's move on. On Partey's return, giving us a huge boost. He says, he's a really important player for us, who we missed in the last few games. Hopefully, he can be available in that game. So he doesn't rule out the fact that Partey could be available. He doesn't rule out the fact that he might play even in that game. On Gabriel Jesus' recovery, something that literally I was listening to the press conference. Actually, you can watch the whole press conference on the 90 More podcast. You can watch Mikel Arteta live on the 90 More podcast. I put that video up there. But I was watching that press conference, and he was asked whether this is the most asked question he always receives. And he says, look, he's progressing well. He's doing more and more on the field, and he's not reacting negatively. So that's really, really positive. We want to have him as quickly as possible, but also respect the time frame we got from the doctors and the specialists. He's really pushing the boundaries right about now. Now, look, to be honest with Gabriel Jesus, he's literally done everything he's got to do. I think he's already back. And Mikel is that kind of manager that wants everything to be systematic. I think he's a very organized guy, very organized man, Mikel Arteta. So if they've said that you'll come back on maybe March the 1st, and you're okay to play on February the 28th, he's never going to play you in that game. And you can see there, he says everything is positive. He's really, really positive. He's pushing the boundaries, and he's not reacted negatively in any way. But he says he's got to respect the boundaries that the specialists and the doctors have actually put up. Of course, with Gabriel Jesus' injury, you think about the area, the knee area. That is difficult. But I don't think it's going to be a recurring injury, because we've seen with Granit Xhaka, we rushed to have him back, and he's been all right. He's been okay. So I think we do have people that can treat that area very well. I hope Gabriel comes back quickly. as well. On rumors around Bukayo Saka signing a new deal, it says no news on that. Look, he's very, very good at that, Mikel Arteta. When he wants something to be hidden until it's official, you can never break him. You can absolutely never break him. He says no news on Saliba, no news on Saka. Of course, as a manager, we don't expect you to come out to be speculative. I mean, you're not a blogger, you're not a YouTuber, you're not even a journalist. The only thing you've got to say is what the club have officially said. If Arsenal sign a new deal right now and they put it on their website, well and good, they will have an interview with Mikel Arteta, and that is where he's given his chance to speak. But in press conferences, I've never seen a manager say, look, we want to give him a new contract, and he's refusing it. No, I've never seen that. But Bukayo Saka's deal is absolutely done and dusted. And according to insiders, including Charles Watts, the announcement is absolutely imminent. Right? Let's move on. Mikel, on what Saka signing a new deal would say about our progress. He says, we want to keep our best players, the players that we are developing. We want to create a long-term project here. And obviously, we need our best players to be committed to the club, right? And that is absolutely what we are talking about here. He says no news on that, but then he tells you just below that we need our best players to be committed to the club. I think he knows. He knows how important, he knows how magnificent signing Saka on a long-term deal is. For our transfer ambitions, for our Champions League ambitions, for our title race ambitions, for everything. Like, I've never seen a player be as important for Arsenal as Saka has been. That geezer has played at left wing back before. He's played at right wing back before. This boy, he came in as a teenager, but he never behaved like a teenager at one point in time. I'm sorry, I doubted him, and I still have a friend. He's called DJ Spino, one of the key people that pushed me to the levels that I am at today. And he's a big Manchester City fan. And whenever we used to watch Arsenal together, he used to tell me Saka is a magnificent player. I liked Martinelli a lot. I thought Martinelli was I think he's sensational. Don't get me wrong, but I think Saka is ahead in terms of development. In terms of talent, maybe, but in terms of development, Saka is really, really developing at a very, very fast rate. So, pick up, you called this, and Saka is now termed as Arsenal's most important player currently by Mikel Arteta. On if there is any progress on the new deal for William Saliba, Mikel says, no news on that as well. Come on, Mikel. We know there is something. On if the referees are protecting Saka enough, Mikel says, I'm sure every referee tries to protect the game and individuals in the best possible way. There is a lot of attention on Bukayo Saka now, and we need to keep that in mind, as well as the team and the plans we put together, understanding what opponents are doing. But for sure, referees have the responsibility and they have to do their jobs. To be honest, I think Alexander Zinchenko was quite absolutely fuming with referees giving that kind of negligence look, stupid attitude towards players like Saka. I don't think Saka is a diver. I don't think this guy is how many times have we seen Saka go down and he's received a yellow card for simulation? How many times? None. Absolutely none. You think about players like Riyad Mahrez, right? If a referee doesn't protect Riyad Mahrez, or if a referee doesn't protect, I don't even remember another player that really goes down so easily than Riyad Mahrez. That I will understand. But Saka, a player that decides to drive through the traffic all the time, regardless of the tackles, how they are kicking him, I think he deserves more protection, to be honest. I mean, and he's also English as well. I don't need to say that, right? Mikel, on if it's a two-horse race, right, for the title. And he says, I think there are more teams involved, and every day is going to be a race. Today is how much we convince those players to train better, to play better against Leicester. We're going to have to be really, really good to beat them, especially with the way they've been playing in the last few weeks. I don't disagree with Mikel. I think Leicester have really turned around. But one thing I don't want is excuses when we don't beat them. Because United went and absolutely tore them apart. And of course, they were at the Old Trafford. You've got to respect that. But they don't even have a good home record this season. Like, I was talking to Glenn last time on his channel, and we were saying, look, we were looking at their form at home. They're 17th, for Christ's sake. Like, they're 17th in terms of doing well at home. Go there, do what you need to do, get the 3 points, focus on Everton, focus on Bournemouth, focus on Crystal Palace. Sorry, Sporting CP. Sporting CP, not Crystal Palace. Sporting CP and then Crystal Palace. Damn it. Right, let's get into more of some of the quotes that Mikel had in this one. Right, on Leicester City's half performance at Manchester United, I said they should have been 2-0 up or 3-0 up very, very early in the game. If it wasn't for David De Gea, that would have been a very different game. The game against Tottenham recently, I'm really complimentary about them. They're in a really, really good moment right now, and we're going to have to be really, really good. You know, the challenge with Leicester is they have not beaten a team that convinces me. And they have lost games that convince me they're a shit side. Against Leeds United, we were chatting with Igal, if you watched that, yesterday. And he was telling me the games they've lost. 2-0 to Newcastle, 2-0 to Leeds United. They lost against Bournemouth, I think, as well. So, I mean, it's hard for us to justify losing. I will understand if Arsenal struggle a bit. I will understand if Arsenal maybe don't play well. But I need the result. I do not care. I need the result, okay? But of course, Mikel is right. We need to play very well to beat them. We need to be really good to beat them. And this should be the beginning of Arsenal playing well away from home. Because we have a couple of away games coming up. Craven Cottage. How is the Sporting CP, stadium called? We have to go away to Portugal to Sporting CP, all right? And then at the King Power Stadium as well. So those are 3 crucial away games. We need to start. Not to start because we're really doing very well, but ever since the Everton game, we've not won another game away from home, have we? Oh, Aston Villa. But we didn't play well. So we need to play better. We need to put in better performances, right? Okay, let's move on. On what the manner of the Aston Villa win did to the mood around the training ground. It says much better, much more positive. The confidence is much better. The environment around the training ground is much better as well. The fact that the team showed the capacity to build in a very, very adverse situation. When you're 2-1 down and you played less than 72 hours before and everyone is expecting you to be tired mentally in terms of quality and belief, to come back and win the game is really, really a very, very big boost to us. And Mikel shouldn't actually focus on playing less than 72 hours. We are back in the Europa League. That means we're going to be playing within less than 72 hours every single week, okay? And we are back in the UEFA Champions League as well. So we're playing every Saturday, every Wednesday. Every Saturday, every Wednesday. Every Tuesday, every Sunday. So this is what it means to go back to the highest level. You play every single week. How I love it. Like, I just love the fact that Arsenal will be playing football every single week. Okay? And I pray that I have some of the fans to go and watch some of those games, especially UEFA Champions League games at the Emirates Stadium. Once in a while, I will be there at the Emirates Stadium watching a few games. That is my ambition next season. And I'm not doubting myself at all. Not really. I'm not doubting myself at all. Right. So let's get into more of the quotes from the manager. On if the team are showing characteristics Arteta didn't know they possessed. He says, I said before the game that I had more belief in the players than before the Manchester City game. And it's for that reason. Because I see how they train, how they react, how much they care, and how much they want it. That is one thing I love about Arsenal now. They care. Like, when we lose, it feels like we lost the game. When we win, they care. They stay behind. They clap for the fans. They fight until the last minute. How many games have we, won and time is up? Man United, Emirates, Fulham, won in the 90 minutes as well. Should have won the Newcastle game in the 90 minutes as well. I thought we should have won that game in the 90 minutes as well. Was it Chelsea as well? Did we score late against Chelsea? The 1-0, did we score late? I think. And then the holding on against Leeds United. Yes, Leeds United, we went up early, but the holding on, okay, was absolutely phenomenal. Right. On the team's maturity, on Saturday, it says I was really complimentary of them, the way they reacted, but as well, there were things that in the first half we should have done better, especially the way we played and the way we controlled the game, that we cannot be 2-1 down. We have to learn those lessons quickly, and hopefully we can have a very, very and more consistent performance against Leicester City, because it's going to be needed to win that game. On what it does for the team, for the team's confidence levels, it says that you have to be able to win games in different contexts, in different situations, and that you have and that you can never give up in sport, especially when there are still so many games to be played. To be played, and in that game, so many minutes still to be played as well, right? On what he expects from Leicester City, he says they will be really, really consistent. They've been consistent in the past weeks as well. In the games they've played, it's true that Brendan has proposed different games in many different moments throughout this season, and they have this capacity to adapt, play different formations, play in different approaches. We are prepared for both because it is possible, and let's see what they do tomorrow. So that is Mikel Arteta and the press conference. That is my reaction to some of the beautiful quotes. I think he's not afraid of Leicester. I think he's prepared, and I think the whole team are prepared as well. My name is Cossy. Hit the like button for me. Subscribe as well. Follow me on the 90 More podcast. I've done my round of 16 reaction and early predictions. Please check it out because you don't want to miss it. But also, I've done the early news show where we've talked about Bukayo Saka and a couple of other stories for Arsenal. Make sure you check that out as well. And Cossy will be back. This is Cossy Arsenal Podcast. See you soon.